Hi, second graders. Welcome to reading. Today we will keep a question in mind as we read to answer it. We will use navigational features of our text to find answers to questions, and we will learn how one question can lead to another question to expand our thinking. So today we're going to work with a book called What is a Tornado? And I want you to take a look at this book, and I want you to check out the photograph on the front. And I see a really big tornado on the front. And I know from my background knowledge that tornadoes are powerful and dangerous storms, and that they have incredibly strong winds that could cause a lot of damage to houses and other buildings. And I know that some people's homes have even been destroyed by tornadoes. When I see something amazing or learn something new, there's questions that often pop into my mind. One question I think of is that a lot of times here we have a similar storm called thunderstorms. And I am wondering, how are thunderstorms and tornadoes the same? So before I even start reading this book in a moment, I'm going to record my question on my think sheet so that I can keep this question in my mind and I can look for this question when I start reading. And you're going to do the same thing today. So I'm going to go ahead and record my question. How are thunderstorms and tornadoes the same? Okay. So there is my question that I'm starting this book with. Now, this is what we would call an authentic question, which means it's one we don't know the answer to, but we want to find it out. And today we're going to be focusing on ways to answer these authentic questions to expand what we know about a topic. And in this case, our topic is tornadoes. So I'm going to show you how I keep my question of how are thunderstorms and tornadoes the same in my mind as I read the text, and I'm going to look at the pictures and the text to try to answer it. So I want to talk to you about our chart here for just a moment. So on the left-hand column, I have I wonder, and we're going to put our questions there. And then in the right-hand column, it's I learned, and this is for information that answers our questions. So I'm going to take you to this text. It's actually a book that I found on Epic. And I want to point one thing out to you because one of our goals for today that I pointed out is that we're going to use navigational features of text to find answers to questions. And you're probably thinking, Mrs. Anderson, what is a navigational feature? So we could also call this a nonfiction feature. And in this case, the feature that we're going to use is a table of contents. And you can see my table of contents right here. And it's going to help us find the information we're looking for. So the table of contents lists what is in the book, and it tells us the page where we can find information about our many different aspects of tornadoes. So I'm going to keep the question in mind that I have of how are thunderstorms and tornadoes the same? And I am going to look to see if there are any parts of this table of contents that will help me to jump to the correct page. So I'm skimming and I'm scanning, which means I'm reading it quickly to search for a phrase that would be similar to my question. And rather than starting at the beginning of the book, the table of contents helps me to locate specific information and the information I need to answer my question. So I see that there is a page in this book, page 6, that has something to do with thunderstorms. So I'm thinking I'm going to start with page 6 and see what it says to find out the information that I'm looking for of comparing thunderstorms and tornadoes. So I'm going to go ahead and flip to page 6. So for a moment before we read, I want you to think what you know about thunderstorms, what you know about tornadoes and how they might be alike or different. And then we're going to read a little bit of the book to see what the book actually says. So you can pause me and think about those things or talk about it at home. So I'm going to start reading, and I want you to notice what you hear me say while I'm reading, okay? So, thunderstorms. Some storms have strong winds, heavy rain, bright lightning, and booming thunder. Lightning is a flash of electricity in the sky. Thunder is the sound that lightning makes when it moves through the air. Storms with lightning and thunder are called thunderstorms. So I'm going to go ahead and read this little caption here for our picture. It says, tornadoes form from funnel clouds. A funnel cloud is a cone-shaped tunnel of spinning wind. So I want to take just a minute and talk about this word, funnel cloud. I want to make sure that we understand what it means. So remember, our bold words is a text feature that we can use to know that this is going to be explained somewhere. And sometimes it's going to be in our glossary, right? I'm sure it is in the glossary in this book. But lucky for us, it also has the definition right under. And we also have the text feature of a picture. And the picture even points to a funnel cloud. So not only do I have a definition of a funnel cloud as a cone-shaped tunnel of spinning wind, but also I have a picture that shows my funnel cloud right there. Okay, that was just a little bit of tidbit of information, but I don't think that my question of how are thunderstorms and tornadoes the same has quite been answered yet. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to my next page where it gives me some information about tornadoes. Big thunderstorms can make tornadoes. A tornado is a huge spinning tower of wind that stretches from a storm cloud down to the ground. It forms when warm, wet air meets cool, dry air. The warm and cool air press against each other and start to spin. This spinning air forms a funnel cloud. The cloud keeps turning and growing downward. When it touches the ground, it becomes a tornado. After I finished these 2 pages, I realized that I have enough information to go ahead and try to answer my question on my Wonder and Learn chart. Okay, so I went ahead and did this work, and I found 2 points. And notice I put little dashes next to them to answer these questions. So my first point was that they're both storms, okay? A thunderstorm and tornado are a storm. And that I also learned that big thunderstorms can make tornadoes. So I went ahead and wrote what I learned in my I learned column, and I'm going to write what we just read, but I'm going to kind of like list it. So notice that I didn't write the whole thing. I just made a little list. So these are some things I'd like for you to notice that I did when I was coming up with answering my question. First of all, I looked at my table of contents, right? So I didn't read from the beginning. I used my text feature of table of contents to get me to the right page. I read the information in the table of contents to see which part of the text might answer my question, and then I went to those pages. I also wrote some information and tried not to write too much. I used my bullets or my dashes, which helped me write one fact or one piece of information at a time, and that way I'm less likely to get confused by too much information, okay? Another thing I did was I used the picture to learn from the picture also. So the picture helped me understand what a thunderstorm and a tornado look like. And often when we learn information, we have even more questions about what we're reading. And that's exactly what we do as thoughtful readers. So we try to expand our thinking a bit, and then we try to find more information about tornadoes and the damage that they might do. So this is your job today. You are going to read this book. I have sent it to your inbox on Epic, What is a Tornado? And I have also sent you on Schoology your very own I Wonder and I Learn chart. I would like for you to come up with a question that is different than mine about tornadoes. And I'd like for you to record your question on I wonder. Okay, and then you're going to use this table of contents and see if you can skip straight to that page, but that might address your question. You're going to go to that page and you're going to see if you can get some information to answer that question. And then you're going to come back to your I wonder, I learned, and you're going to make some bullet points that go along with your question. You can do one question, you can do two, you can do three. Your requirement right now is to do at least one question that you have before you start reading this book, using your table of contents, skipping to that page, and then seeing if you can answer your question. My hope is that after you read a little bit, you might have another question that you can record on your I wonder, I learned. Again, if you have any questions, please send me a message through Schoology or have your mom and dad email me. Good luck, and I'll see you soon.